everyone, so for this next part, what we're going to do is we are going to create a table. It's going to be a pretty basic table. I kind of already got an idea. This is kind of like the table that I'm going to try to make since I really like the colors. I like the way that it looks. And on top of that, it's relatively simple. It's not too bad. So in here, I also made the chair a little higher, so I need to make sure that whenever I do make this, that proportion wise, that it matches up with the size of that chair. So that's why I'm kind of having that to the side. And again, I'm going to be using like all of these views just to kind of assist with that, just to make sure that everything is aligned correctly. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create the tabletop. All right, and the reason that I start off with the actual top itself is for size wise. I just want to make sure that I can start like aligning everything the way that it's supposed to. Specifically the legs of the chair, or of the table, I mean. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a box. All right, and obviously right now it's going to start off pretty small, but let's see how big 10 makes it. So depth wise, let's say 10. All right, so I can see that that's still really small. Let's say 30. 30 is starting to come along. I think 40 is going to do it though. All right, so 40, I think that that's a pretty good size right there. Height, let's see, it's actually pretty thin right now. I think I'm going to make it 5 height, but the width is definitely going to be 40 as well. So not 140, 40. All right, so I made that really big. All right, so 40, there it goes. All right, so that's the tabletop right there. And then height wise, I think I'll make it like between 3 and 5. Let's say 4. Let's see how thick that is. So I'm just gonna rotate it around, and that might be a little too thick. So let's actually just go 2, or actually let's try 3. Okay, still maybe too much. Let's try 2. Okay, I think that that's better actually. Just depending off of here. I mean, it definitely makes a difference in like the thickness of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and raise this up. So I'm just gonna select my move tool and just move it up along the y-axis. All right, just to kind of get a good glimpse of what that's gonna look like there. All right, so as you can see, there is another like smaller box here, and what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna simplify this even more for me, and I am going to kind of connect like this side edge of the bottom part of the table. This edge right here, I'm going to connect that with the legs of the table, so the legs aren't going to stick out like this. They're kind of like sticking out from the side. I think I'm going to try to make them kind of come together at a good angle. So here's what I'm going to do here. I'm actually going to clone this part up here. All right, and I'm going to name this like let's say tabletop. And whenever I clone this, let's clone this and copy, press OK. I'm going to move this down. All right, and I'm actually going to call this, let's name this table base. All right, just so that I know, the top and the base part, they are going to be a little bit different. Let's see, depth or height wise, I should say, it does look like it's a little tiny bit thicker. So I'm actually going to make this like 3. And as you can see, it's also smaller, I think by a few on each side. So I'm actually going to center this out, and let's say 30 on each side. That might actually be too much now that I look at it. So let's say 35. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into my front view. So like right here, and I'm just going to like align this to where it's kind of like right there. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so I guess it's flipped out. Nope. Well, I guess not. All right, well, I guess it disappeared in my left side view. So if this ever happens to you, what I've seen that works is kind of changing it up. So going into like a perspective and then going back into whatever view you're in. Let's see if that works. I guess not. All right, so sometimes it just does disappear, y'all. Personally, I don't have an answer for it. I have no idea why it does that. But let's just say that we're working on this in here, so that'll be fine. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead and make that next I'm going to make the legs here. And as you can see, the legs do start to get a little tiny bit smaller at the end. You know, they're pretty thick up at the top, and then they just gradually get a little bit smaller as they go down. So here's what I'm going to do for that. I'm actually just going to make one leg, and I'm going to go ahead and make a box right here. And I'm going to kind of move it over to this corner, like right there. All right, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to widen this out. So let's say depth, let's say 5. Same with the width, 5. All right, and now the height, that is, and actually that might be too much. So let's actually go with 3 and 3. That's closer. I'm just gonna say 4. And yeah, I totally get that the sizing, it can get a little, not weird, but you know, a lot of the times you are kind of guessing sizes, especially when you don't have like specific parameters for what your table is going to be like. So I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head. So let's actually say like 15. See how tall that is. Let's say 50. All right, I think that's better. But obviously I'm gonna have to like compare. I think that's might be too tall. So let's say 40. I think that's better right there. Okay, so as you can see, it does get like a little tiny bit, it is pretty big. So I'm actually going to go into my other view here, and going to kind of place it here. And I wish I had my, oh, here it is. Well, but I don't have the tabletop. I don't know where the tabletop is. It's just kind of like somewhere, maybe. I have no idea. Oh, I guess that's it right there, sort of. Yeah, I have no idea where it's at. I know it's somewhere over here. Like, it has to be. Like, there it is. But I don't know what it is with the program. It just kind of, like, glitching out. And it does do that every once in a while. So I'm just going to try my best here. And I'll just kind of, like, move it into different angles and see what works and what doesn't. So what I'm going to do here is, let's go back to our move tool. All right, I'm just going to place this a little further back. A little more to the right. Right there. And as you can see, it needs to kind of go up. All right, and this is why I tell y'all the perspective view, yes, it definitely like it can do a lot, but it can only take you so far. And let me actually show edges here. There it goes. All right, so I can kind of, I think that's good right there. I think I just need to move it to the left a little tiny bit. There it goes. And it's a little tiny bit off, but I mean, what can you do, right? I don't have the other views and stuff here, so I'm just gonna make do with what I got here. And I mean, unless you're like unless you just have a keen eye for it, you're probably not gonna be able to tell. All right, so right now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go into my tools, and I'm gonna go to edge mode. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna change these up at the bottom, and I'm going to make them kind of gathered together. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to hold down Alt, actually Control, and I'm going to select all 4 of these here. And all that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Scale. All right, and as you can see there, that's generally what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make this part a little bit smaller, just like that. All right, and I just like, so let me do that one more time. So what I did here is I selected all 4 of these edges. So hold down Control and select all of them. And then all that I did is that I went to my scale tool and I went to the orb in the middle and I just clicked down, just a tad. You don't have to do too much. You just want like enough to where you can kind of see the effect to it. And now, so let's kind of zoom out a little bit. And as you can see, it does go from being like a bigger top to the smaller part down here. And that's essentially the look that I wanted for it. So I'm happy with that. And now all you have to do, y'all, is go to my move tool. All right, there we go. Now go to the Explorer. And I'm going to call this like leg 1. All right, and I'm just going to clone them. All right, so I'm going to go to clone, press OK. And the beauty of this now is that all you really have to do is just move them, you know, like this in the direction. So this I'm going to kind of place like right there. And it's already aligned on one side, so you just kind of have to try to find a way to make them fit perfectly together. And I think that's really close right there. So I'm really happy with that. So now I'm just going to clone this next one. And as you can see, it automatically changes to leg 2. And I'm going to make another copy, and this one goes to leg 3. So they're just kind of gradually naming each other, or naming themselves, I should say. Now right here. And y'all, I don't know how people are doing this without a mouse, but I will just say, like, try to get a mouse if you don't already have one. Definitely very helpful with this stuff. And just cloning one more time. And I'm just gonna move that over there. Let's try to get it aligned the best we can. As you can see, it's like sticking out a little tiny bit, so I'm kind of a stickler for that kind of stuff. So there it goes. All right, so this is going to be the chair, or actually the table, I mean. And as you can see, I made it way too big. So here's what I'm actually going to do here. Let's see if this is going to work for me. I'm going to try to scale the whole thing. Yeah, there it goes. All right, so I'm just going to scale the chair, and that's way too right there. I think that's perfect. So I'm going to highlight all these, and I'm actually just going to move this up to where it's kind of like sitting flat against this grid right there. All right, now same thing with here. I'm just going to move this up kind of like right there. All right, and oh man, I really wish I could see in my other views, but I don't know what's up with them. All right, so now here, all that you would honestly have to do now is just kind of place them, and you know, make copies of this chair if you really want to. I already got like a red chair here, but I haven't resized it or anything, so it's gonna look kind of small. There it goes. So I'm definitely gonna have to work with the sizing a little bit, but you know, thankfully that's not too bad. All you have to do is use your scale tool. So with this, the same practice that you used for coloring your chairs, I would 100% do that with your table as well, just to kind of, you know, give it that look, so that it's not super plain, and hopefully like you'll start to kind of get the hang of this. It definitely takes some time to get used to it, but I'm telling y'all, with the simple modeling stuff, you know, with tables and chairs, specifically more like the structure where they're like really like rectangular, or really squarish, it is all pretty much repetition. So my challenge to you all is definitely create your table, have it, you know, take along some of the coloring from your chairs, and just kind of like start arranging them out. And what I want you all to do is to actually think of some stuff that you could actually model to put on your table themselves, whether it's like, you know, like a glass, or like a cup or some bowls, whatever it may be. Kind of think of things that you could create to put onto your table. Okay, so I'm excited to see what you all come up with. Definitely email me, let me know if you have any questions, and happy modeling, y'all. Have a great day.